Hey guys, what's up? I'm Slim and you're watching Slimothy TV. In this video, I've got a super cool one for you guys. We're gonna be taking a look at the Windy app for the iPhone. This is possibly one of the most feature-packed weather applications that I have ever used. And we've tested hundreds of different weather apps. This one is by far one of the most customizable apps that I think professionals and enthusiasts will love. If you're just someone that likes to look at the weather, this is also really interesting, and it might even pique your curiosity in meteorology as well as wind in general, because this application has a ton of information regarding wind as well as other weather phenomena. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. First, here is the application. It's the blue app icon right there, Windy.app. And then here is one of the really cool widgets that you guys can add from this application. I've got mine set to Miami Beach. I can see the wind direction right there. I can see currently it looks like it's drizzling or possibly will drizzle in a bit. 80 degrees high for the day. And you can see that's pretty much standard for the rest of the week. And then that little bar under it, that kind of delineates the different days as well as what the wind's gonna be like. So the yellow means it's gonna be a little windier. The blue means a little less. But without further ado, let's go ahead and pop the app open here. And I'm gonna show you guys just how powerful this application is. First off, right away, this is what you're presented with. You got your favorite spots right here. You can add as many as you want. Scroll down, you got the weather map, which we will get to in a minute. We also have chats right here, where you can chat with people that are at different spots that you might want to interact with. And then you have the community tab, which is photos and stuff from other people at different spots. Very cool community, but let's go ahead and click on the top left icon right here. You can see my account right here, Pro User. This is a free application for any of you guys to try out, but to get most of the cool features, you're gonna have to pay either monthly or yearly. So I do have to give a big thank you and shout out to Windy app developers for sending out a code for us to check out this app with the Pro version. Now, right away, you're gonna see offline mode right here. This is something that anyone that's been out dealing with weather, you need something like this, because sometimes you're out in the middle of nowhere, you don't have reception, maybe there's a bad windstorm, knocks out all of the power lines. You're gonna wanna have access to this. So I've got the offline forecast for favorite spots turned on. Doesn't take up much data, as well as the offline wind map. And you can see the forecast is until October 26th. That should be plenty. So that's how that's set up. I think offline mode is a very important feature. Of course, it's pro only, but it's something that you're gonna wanna turn on because it's off by default. All right, settings here, we've got units. We can change all of these from the weather widget all the way down to wind speed, air temperature, tidal datum, distance, height, precipitation, and you can add your weight right here. I'm not entirely sure why it wants that. I'm assuming because, there's different calculations that the app can use based on other parameters. So it probably just helps. I've already customized those units to exactly what I want. Offline mode, we've already gone over that. And then down here, you can choose to turn on or off the light theme. I'm gonna leave light theme on just for the video sake. I think it looks a little better. Text size, of course, you can change that if you like. I like it at default. Now, obviously Miami and Nassau are pretty similar, but let's say you wanted to add a new one. You can hit this little search button up here and you can easily view all spots or weather stations. Now, a spot can be pretty much anywhere. Okay, you could technically make your house a spot, but you can see right here, Tarifa, Spain has a very, very popular spot. 714,000 people favorited that location because I don't know why. I've never been there, but I assume that they've got good wind. Maybe it's a good surf spot or kite surfing, whatever that icon is right there. But you can scroll through here and just see all the different most popular areas that people have saved. Now, let's say yours is not showing up there because it's most likely not. You can search for it right here. So I can search for any spot name, location, and I can find it. If I want to get rid of the weather stations, I can search by just spots. And if I want only weather stations, I can select that and search for a weather station like that. Me personally, I don't usually use too much data from the weather stations because those could be like someone's own home weather station. You kind of have to trust that they have it set up properly. Let's click on Miami. Let's just drill down here. And I'm gonna show you guys how powerful this application really is. First of all, at the top, you got the location name. There are tutorials because trust me, when you first get this application, you're gonna wanna look at a tutorial. So if you're watching this video as kind of a tutorial, good for you. You're gonna learn a lot here, but I also recommend checking out theirs as well if you are stuck on anything. Anyways, guys, in the top right, you can go ahead and click these three dots if you wanna share the forecast, switch the unit, unmark it as a favorite, go to the maps, route to spot, offline forecast. There's just a ton of different things you can do here. You can also look at the weather history. That is super cool. I'm gonna show you guys that here in a minute. Then you've got the map. You can zoom out if you wanna get a quick glimpse of where you're actually looking at here in Florida. So we'll zoom back into Miami. And on the side here, you can chat with other people that are at that spot. You can also turn on alerts, and then you've got the full map if you wanna click on that, which we will get into here in a minute. Let's go back for now. Let's click on the alerts because this is something that really differentiates this app from almost every other weather app that I've ever seen. You can set very, very precise, specific notifications for wind, the likes of which I've never seen before. Check this out. So if I wanna say, I wanna see the winds between 35 and 50 miles per hour, and I want to be notified about this 10 days before it happens, 7 days before it happens, 3 and 1, so I don't forget about it, I can go ahead and set that. But it gets even better. you can set for how long you want that wind speed to be. Do you want it 1 hour, 3 hours, 6 hours, or 9 hours? Obviously, you're probably not going to get many alerts when it's 9 hours of those types of winds. But if we want 1 hour, we can do that. We can also choose our time frame. Of course, this is in military time to make it easier. So you can choose what time of the day you want the alert to come through. So far, we've got this wind speed, this many days before, for at least 1 hour of that wind speed during this time frame. And then you can choose the wind direction. I mean, this is crazy powerful right here. If you need a very specific wind direction, wind speed for a specific time, you can get an alert 10 days out so you can plan a trip accordingly and go have fun at that location. This is something I haven't seen any other app do. Very powerful notification stuff right there, very granular. But given that this application seems very formulated for professionals and enthusiasts, it doesn't surprise me that Windy thought about it. Now there's quite a few really cool features here, but I want to get into the meat of this application. So what does that mean? That means this section right here, which is probably the most interesting part of this entire app, I want to explain it because this section right here can be very confusing, especially for new users of this app. When you open up a location like Miami Beach here, you're going to be presented with best model. Now, obviously it's choosing the Euro right now, the ECMWF. Now it's a global model with high accuracy, updated twice a day. Forecast length is only 10 days, but that's pretty far compared to a lot of the other models. Now, with that in mind, this is considered the best model for this location. Windy uses AI to kind of go through and pick the best model for any given location based on a rolling average. So as of right now, the Euro is the most accurate. And it gives me the very, very easy breakdown right here. Very digestible. You can see the wind, you can see the time. This is in 1 hour time frames all the way across. I can even drag up here. If I want to quickly go to like this yellow right here, that means it's going to be windier. I can see what's going on, the direction, what time. I can see temperature, clouds, stuff like that right here on the screen. I can scroll down as well. And let's just say you're not sure what this means. You can scroll all the way to the left and you'll be able to see right here, the legend. So I can see the wind direction. And of course, this is being provided by the Euro right here because that's what we've got. But down here, this is pulling from the GFS. If we scroll all the way down, we've got the forecast update time. So this is very powerful if you want to see when the last time one of these was updated. So you can see, for example, the Euro was updated 4 hours ago, but over here, the GFS was 3 hours ago, and the UK V2 was 1 hour ago. You can kind of gauge that and see, are you waiting for another refresh or are you good with what it's got? Now, right here, you can see customized forecast. We're going to get to that. That's one of the coolest things about this app. We got chat for the location, spot info if you want to see chat with locals, stuff like that. But I'm going to back out of that. Archive. Now, this is probably my second favorite feature of this entire app. Check this out. First of all, you've got a graph for all time about the different winds right there. But on top of this, I can literally go back to all the way to 2012 and see what the weather was like. 2013, I can see the graph change as I click through these. Now, if that wasn't enough for you to see, throughout the different months, I can scroll over to 2023 and see that as well. That's cool and all, but if I click detailed archive, I can literally drill down to the exact day that I want to see in the past. So if there was a day in 2018, let's say Tuesday, October 3rd, I can see the exact weather that happened on that day. I have not seen another app that can get this granular of details. And there's been multiple times when I wanted to see what a specific location had at that time in the past. For example, when I'm remembering a trip and I want to see what the weather was while I was at that location on that trip a couple years ago, I can easily drill down into here and see what it was, relive those memories and think about, what was happening at that time. Was there crazy winds, crazy storms, or was it clear that day and beautiful? This is something I personally use. And so far, this is the only app that allows me to get granular details on stuff so easily in the past. So if you guys know of another app that does this, drop it down below in the comments, but this is bar none the best detailed weather archive that I have ever seen on the iPhone. I don't say that lightly because I've looked at other apps for years for that feature. Services, you can see different services in the area there. Probably not something most people use. Of course, you got community here, and then you've got the weather stations that are in the area. So if you trust those. So let's get to the most crucial and coolest part of this entire thing right here. You got custom profiles. What does that mean? Well, you can create your own profile right here. You can switch your units to whatever you'd like for each different profile. You can also change the color of wind and gusts right here. So if you don't like their defaults, you can change those. But on top of this, you can create your own. You can choose expert, boat. So it's going to customize and give you exactly what you need if you're a boater, someone that uses a kite, windsurf. If you're a fisherman, you might like this because it can tell you when there's going to be most fish. Then there's Fish Pro. If you really care and you want to see a lot more detail, you can choose this one. Surf, air, snow. So if you're snowboarding, you might want to know about the clouds, the depth of the snow, freezing level, stuff like that. Then you got bike, foil, dive, hike, and light. Now light is probably best for just a noob, a beginner, someone that just wants to check out what the weather is going to be at any given time. But then you got custom. So of course, you know me, I went ahead and I customized and I added literally every single parameter known to man in this application. I mean, I've literally added every single one of them. In fact, if I scroll all the way down, you can see there are none left. Available forecast parameters, there's none left. There's nothing left to add. Advanced or easy, it doesn't matter. I've added them all. If we go over here and we select custom number 2 for Miami Beach, this is what you see. So here we go. This is going to take a minute, but I think you guys are going to find this incredibly valuable. We can switch this to 3 hour if we want, if we don't want to see super granular stuff. I personally like the 1 hour mode the best if I'm at a spot and I want to see what's going on. But if I scroll over here, we're going to be looking at these to see what they are. So right here, you can see GFS 27. So this is GFS right here. All this information is being pulled straight from GFS. I'm going to scroll down. We got dew point, we got temperature, we got wind speed. Of course, we got the swell size, and the swell period right here, which is very important, I know, for captains of ship and those that are piloting boats. We also have the mean sea level pressure chart. You can see it going up and down. And on top of this, as we scroll down, you can see the wind direction, you can see the kite size. We also have access to this chart right here for the fishing. So you can see weak bite, good bite, medium bite. This is probably invaluable for fishermen. I am not one, but this is really cool to see that they have this. You can see the cloud base, which is probably very helpful for pilots and those in meteorology. You also have the swell energy right there. Now on wind speed and wind gust, you can see we've got all of the different models lined up. So you can see what's going on with each. And this will actually allow you to kind of gauge which model you want to believe at a location. So I can see the Euro, the Icon, GFS, I can see them all right here. They're pretty much in agreement for the most part. The HRRR is a bit of an outlier, but the HRRR is usually pretty accurate. So you're gonna have to figure that out for yourself at your location. But this works for the wind speed and the wind gusts. So you can kind of look at those and see what's going on. At the very bottom, you can see the black line is actually one of the weather stations in the area, but you know, you have to pick those and choose which ones you want to believe. Now, if you notice when you are scrolling through here that the arrows for the direction of the wind is a little bit off. So like some of them are facing north, some of them are south, and you're like, what the heck? That just means that the models are not in agreement. And it means the weather could be variable and you're going to have to kind of pick your best guess of which one you think is most accurate. You can see right now, these are pretty much all in agreement. So you can be pretty confident of what's going to happen with the weather there. I would probably ignore that weather station. Scrolling down, we have snow precip. We have weather conditions right here. So a nice little graphical icon. We also have the UV index, which obviously gets very high in Miami, as you might imagine. We also have the feels like temperature. We also have information at different levels here. So you got 6,300 feet, 900 HPA, and 1,000 HPA. You can check out that information here and get what you need from that. You also have the wind speed, wind gusts, air temperature. And one of my favorite features is the clouds feature. So you can actually see what the clouds are going to be like at any specific point in time. See when it's going to clear out, when it's going to get thicker. And then you've got weather conditions down there. This is provided by the Euro, so it's usually, again, pretty accurate for most locations that I've encountered. Then you got the wind speed right here from the Euro. Wind gusts, clouds, temperature, precipitation. All of this information right at your fingertips, freezing level in feet. This could be useful for pilots for sure. You can see 13,000 feet is the freezing level, dips down, goes back up throughout the day. The icon actually provides snow depth, which obviously is not needed in Miami. And this is the HRRR data right here. Then you got the NAM data that I imported. Then you have the MFWM data right here for the swell size, period, and energy. And you can scroll through that. This page right here is where you're going to spend most of your time with this application. Of course, customizing this to what you need. You don't need all of this data, most likely. I don't know who would actually go through all of that, but I wanted to add that for you guys to see all the different data points that you can add for a specific location around the world. Now, with that in mind, let's go ahead and jump into the map. Now, this is where things get really cool because you can see the entire global view of the different winds, the high and low pressures, wind speeds, and all these different spots that you can drill down into and get more information on. Now up here in the UK, it looks like there is quite a bit of activity. And then down here as well, there should be some, right around this tropical storm over in Cuba. And there's one right over here. It might be on land right now, but there is something going on over here. And I think there's one more over in Philippines. Let's see. Yeah, there it is, low pressure. That will probably form into a tropical storm pretty soon, maybe a hurricane or a typhoon since it's over there. Now, again, I have this map customized just a bit, but we can go ahead and switch to different times here and to the 29th. Now, of course, this one is using the Euro model right here, but I can change that. I can change it to GFS, Icon, the AROME, the NAM, the HRRR, or EXP3. Now, EXP3 is actually Windy.app's own proprietary system. They've developed this themselves with AI, and I think they mix a couple different models, and I think it's pretty promising. The data seems pretty high resolution, and that is definitely something that people out on the water might want to take a look at. But I'm going to switch back to the Euro here, and I'm going to click on wind speed, and then I'm going to switch it over to wind gusts. I'm going to show you guys all the different overlays. So let's just go to, we can go to water temperature. That's always cool to look at. So you can see just how warm this water is over here, where a lot of these hurricanes are forming. Out in the Atlantic over to the Gulf. Let's go ahead and switch this back to, let's go to swell. And this can be super helpful for boaters. If you are out there on the oceans, the swell can be very important. It gives you the direction, gives you a very nice graphical interface of what that is going to look like. So let's go back. Let's go to in speed here. And this switched over to the GFS. I'm going to switch it back to the Euro just for fun here. And yeah, you can see where the big high pressure is. Now, the way that I got that is by clicking on this right here, and I can switch any of these at will. So I can change these to wind barbs if I don't want to see the little lines and arrows moving. If I prefer the wind barbs, I can zoom in to any location and see them in very granular detail right there. I can switch this and turn them off, turn off the fronts and ISO bars if I want. I can turn off spots on the map if I don't want to see them. So I turned off fishing spots, I turned off snow spots, stuff like that. All I've got left is marina and other, which is weather stations right there. If you have poor internet, you can turn on traffic saver mode. Of course, you can download the offline map if you need, but this is all on the Windy model right here. I've got hybrid, satellite, if you want, a lot of people like the hybrid. So here's the hybrid view. If you want to see that, zoom into Chattanooga here, and you can see all the different streets and the wind right there. Me personally, I like Windy the best. I think it's easiest to see. I think it looks really good. Now, another thing, if you are going to a location, let's just say you're going to West Palm Beach here, and you click on this little icon, you can see exactly what the weather stations are saying in that area. So you can get a better idea of what the current wind speed is for anywhere from the local weather stations. So this can be very valuable, especially if you're in a spot that maybe is notorious for not having the best weather data from the Euro or the GFS. You can get the actual data from a weather station that's in that area at any time. So zooming out one more time, I really think that this is packed with so much good information. It's all customizable. You can switch to whatever model you want if they have the data for it. It's just very powerful. And if you're a professional or an enthusiast, this is definitely something you're going to want to look into. So lastly, here on this main screen at the very bottom, you have nearest. And if you have GPS turned on, which obviously I don't for the video, it will give you the nearest spots. So maybe you're out traveling and you just want to see what's nearby. This will allow you to do that if you turn on GPS. It's been a quick overview of this application. I think the amount of parameters that you can add to those detailed overviews for any location is absurd. I think it is amazing. Personally, haven't seen anything else like this from any other weather app where you can add just so many different parameters. I think the map is very well laid out. It loads quickly. It shows you all the information that you need. Having them available offline is also invaluable, especially if you're going to be in another country or an area that doesn't have good reception. And lastly, the detailed archives are really cool to look back on. And on top of that, you can actually use that to plan out where you want to take your next vacation. If you need a specific wind speed or temperature, you can look back and see historically when it's been the best for whatever you want to do. You can plan accordingly from there. So anyways, guys, big thank you and shout out to Windy.app for sending us out a code to check this app out. If you have any questions about it, leave it down below and we will try to get back to you guys. If you like the video, hit the big thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.